Hi, my name is Jimmy, and I wanted to share a little bit of my story with you guys. I was born and raised in Southern California to Jimmy Brown and Donna Brown, to what seemed like a normal married couple. And from what I remember and what I understand, things were normal. I know that there was a lot of partying that went on in my house with my parents and my aunts and uncles, which that's what I knew. So to me, it was normal. I think as a result of that partying, by the age of 5, my parents had divorced and split up, and my dad had full custody of my brother and I. I don't remember much of my life from 5 to 11, and at 11 years old, my mom committed suicide. And I think when that happened, it left me kind of just feeling hopeless. It left me feeling not good enough and kind of just really angry. And by the time I was 13 years old, I had convinced myself, or the enemy had convinced me, that I would die the same way. So from the ages of 13 to 33, I lived basically a life of destruction, chasing everything that the world tells you is going to give you happiness. There were moments of highs that felt like happiness, but those highs always ended in low, low lows. I'd always believed in God my entire life, but I had no idea who Jesus was, or that Jesus came for people like me. So I always believed the lie that I would never be good enough. I'd gone to church with family members as a child, and there was always something that in me that wanted to go back to church, but I always felt like I would never be good enough. I couldn't remember anything from my childhood, but I could definitely remember every single sin that I had committed, and the enemy was right there to whisper in my ear that because of all those things that I had committed, that I would never be good enough. And yeah, like I said, I lived that way till I was 33 years old. I was at the end of my rope, and I was planning my suicide. Most of the time, when I would contemplate suicide, it would be at moments when I was drunk. And this particular week, I was planning my suicide as I was sober, and it was something that I couldn't get away from. A lot of times I was able to wake up the next day after being drunk, and I would just write it off as being drunk. But this was a moment when I was planning it as I was sober, and I was planning how I was going to do it so that my dad and my brother wouldn't have to clean up a mess. And that week, God has divine appointments, and I met someone that shared their story with me. The first person that had ever openly spoke to me about suicide. And the same way that I planned on taking my life, I cried out to Jesus in that bathtub and told him, Jesus, I need you. The next morning, it was almost like I was high on something, but it was literally just Jesus, because he showed up and salvation happened in an instant. I've never felt anything like that in my life. He's healed me layer by layer as I continue to pursue him. So as a result of my mom taking her own life, I experienced so much hatred and anger, not just towards others, but towards myself as well. And as I began to experience God's forgiveness, I was able to forgive others in my life and kind of start living a life free of anger, which for me, so many things in my life that I did were fueled by anger. So if there's anybody out there that's believing that lie that you've done something that you can't be forgiven for, I promise you that is an absolute lie, and there's nothing better that you can do with your life than make the choice to follow Jesus.